Welcome to Empath Inspiration, where you are honored for your ability to feel so much, so deeply. Each week, you will learn practical information, tools, and insights that empower empaths to live healthy, productive lives. Here's your host, author, intuitive, natural health and holistic nutrition consultant, and the developer of the Foundations Healing System, a revolutionary self-healing method designed specifically for empaths, Dr. Janice Carlin.
Welcome to another edition of Empath Inspiration. Last time I talked a lot about what being empathic means, and I shared some concepts in new science that explain how empaths feel so much that's outside of ourselves. All of that information lays the groundwork for everything else I'll be talking about. So if you missed it, you can listen to episode 1 on iTunes for free. The topic for this week's show is self-care for empaths and sensitives. Remember, first and foremost, that everyone is different. And that means that things that work well for one person may have the opposite or even no effect for someone else. So we can't say that there's one diet or one type of exercise or one kind of meditation or one approach to healing that works for everyone. However, there is a basic foundation that's the same when we reference what it takes to be able to live a healthy, productive life as an empath. It involves purity and maintaining your boundaries, and I'll be explaining more about this as I go today. If you want to feel good, you have to make sure that the way you treat yourself and set up your environment is the foundation for you to base the rest of your experiences on. You're interacting and reacting to energy vibrations all the time. And like I talked about last time, many of them in this world, unfortunately, are of a low and dissonant vibration, and that translates into toxic reactions and pain for you. You want to make sure that you aren't bringing any of those low ones to you by choice. Remember, they aren't pure and they aren't natural. So you have to learn how to work with energy on as many levels as you can so that you can have less reactions and stop the ones that do occur. But without a baseline of setting up a safe and high vibrational environment for your body to live, it's always going to be reacting to something no matter what you do spiritually or energetically. Let me tell you what I mean by this and give you practical ways to do it. First, think about the basic things that your body needs so it can be healthy. Clean food, clean water, quality daily sleep, and plenty of essential nutrients. These are just the very basics. But so often in our world that's so full of so many options, people make choices that prevent these basic needs from being met. Of course, there are people who don't have any choice because they live in poverty and are oppressed. This is a different situation than those who have enough. But choose not to make honoring choices for themselves. It really is about making choices, because what happens is that when your body doesn't have its basic needs met, it won't be able to function to its highest capacity and remain in the ideal state of homeostasis. Believe me, I've been there. And it took my very strong desire to help my son to heal and to thrive that led me to finally learn the truth about how and what I was eating and why my health continued to spiral downhill. There's so much information out there, and it can be really confusing what to listen to and believe. I know this. I've been through the confusion and the damaging results. But I've also come out the other end with knowledge and truth that I'm here sharing with you now to empower you so that you can give your body and what it needs give your body what it needs in order to support your beautiful soul light and living your life here on earth. Know that when your body's in a state of harmony, you can better deflect and quickly clear the other low vibrational energies that you come into contact with. Some people that I've talked to have given up on eating a healthy diet because as empaths, they don't notice a change in how they feel by eliminating unhealthy foods. But again, the diet is the foundation. It's the baseline that you have to use and have to maintain for yourself. Then as you add on top of that, working with other energy and vibrations on other levels, you'll see how dramatic the changes are that you'll experience and how you feel. For a highly sensitive person, the diet is most certainly not enough on its own. but it's an essential piece to have in place, firmly in place. So how do you do it? It's really, really simple to know what to do to eat in an honoring way for yourself. So please, though, remember that I'm giving you general guidelines here. Every person is different and needs to eat different foods depending upon their genetics, the environment where they live and work, their soul energy vibration, and their health status at the time. So these guidelines I'm giving you are simple and super empowering. As you remove the toxic foods from your diet and replace them with whole, clean foods, your body will appreciate it so much, and we begin to heal itself and to function to a higher capacity for you to live your life. So get ready to write down these really simple guidelines about how to honor yourself through your diet. And remember, the fundamental, what we're talking about here is purity. Number 1, focus on removing chemicals. This may sound very complex, but it isn't. Foods that have been grown, treated, or created with chemicals are not going to be processed and used by your body in the same way that other foods are. So here are some chemicals you can keep in mind that are in foods commonly for you to be aware of removing. Synthetic preservatives and additives, and this includes artificial sweeteners, colors, and flavors, pesticides and herbicides, and hormones and antibiotics and other medications given to animals that you may eat their products. You'd be amazed of how much is added to foods, even some produce that's sold in stores. So in order to maintain your boundaries, you have to read labels. Otherwise, how will you know? Unfortunately, not everything is listed on labels, even when you do take the time to read them. And that's when you come to the point of deciding whether to buy organic foods that don't contain these chemicals. It's your choice. Okay? Number 2, focus on whole foods rather than processed. So if you eat grains, make sure they're whole grains rather than those that have been put through a processing system. Processed grains are so devoid of nutrition that the producers of them have to add synthetic vitamins, there's more chemicals and minerals, synthetic, back into them so that they aren't perceived by your body as just pure sugar. High fructose corn syrup, which is in most processed foods, it's not perceived by the body to be anything connected to corn. It's processed sugar, and it contains it causes a toxic reaction in your body, no matter who you are. Soy, in some form or another, is found in almost all processed foods. Soy in the United States and some other countries is genetically modified. It's not a pure food at all. Processed foods often contain large amounts of salt, and to add to that and make it worse is processed salt. So it's devoid of nutrition and nutrients as opposed to sea salt. Toxic processed oils are used to make processed foods, and in certain countries like the U.S., many of these oils, such as cottonseed, canola, corn, and soy, are genetically modified. They're not pure. And when you read ingredients on boxes and bags of food, you aren't going to see all of this information. So you have to know about it so you can make the choices that are in your highest benefit. You'll notice that a lot of foods in the store that are processed also contain a lot of the harmful chemicals I was talking about too. And one of the worst tricks in the food industry is that many food products that are labeled as natural or even as containing some organic ingredients still contain processed grains, soy, and chemical additives and preservatives. I know it can sound overwhelming, but remember, it's just 2 simple things to avoid: chemicals and processed foods. And the last one, I'm just giving you 3 big guidelines here. Remove the foods that you know you are allergic or sensitively reacting to. If you know that you or a child has an allergy or a sensitivity to a food or a substance, don't cheat at all and consume it or bring it to your body. Your body's telling you by its reaction that you're hurting it by consuming that. So stop putting that kind of stress on your body. Don't cheat. The pain and illness aren't worth it. Listen to your body. Now, I know from personal experience that some sensitive people are going to continue having food sensitivities no matter how much healing they do for themselves. And that's why I included a special easy energy process in the Foundation's healing system I developed. It can be used before and after eating to stop those reactions, help stop all of them. Now think about your beautiful soul that's comprised of light. your soul is natural, and your body is too. When something that's synthetically derived or artificially mutated comes into contact with your natural being, it won't be processed well. And what this means to you is that now your body is having to work really hard to detoxify itself from the impure, unnatural vibrations it was exposed to. So all of the energy that the body is expending on trying to take whatever actual nutrients or helpful elements are available and then to detoxify the rest takes away from the energy you need to be able to deflect and detox the regular energy vibrations you come into contact with all day long. This is really profound here, so really think about that. If you maintain a diet of pure whole foods, your body will expend a normal and natural amount of energy to digest and process the nutrients and then remove the waste. Then when it comes into contact with impurities in the environment, has that extra energy available to detoxify them from itself. But if it's constantly bombarded by unnatural foods, like processed foods that aren't in their whole form, foods that contain chemical additives, preservatives, pesticides, hormones, and genetically modified ingredients, like I'm talking about today, you're asking it to work too hard to keep you alive and functioning. These elements are toxic, and your body just simply isn't designed to digest them. Now, it helps to think about all of this in terms of boundaries. Remember, empaths feel energy vibrations. When you have strong boundaries, you send the message out that says, this is my space. Nothing of low vibration is allowed to be in it, period. Establishing and maintaining strong boundaries for yourself helps to keep a lot of those low vibes away from you so you don't have to feel so much pain. On planet Earth, you have to make the conscious decision to keep low vibrations away from you the best that you can, and you have to make decisions all day long to maintain your boundaries. If you live where there's access to clean water, you obviously wouldn't bend down and drink from a puddle. So why would you choose to put a toxic soup of chemicals into your mouth by drinking a soft drink? Read the ingredients. Soda isn't even close to being pure. And when you decide to put it into your body, you are the one who's breaking through your boundaries. No one is attacking you. No one's doing anything to you. You've made the choice. Remember what I talked about in episode 1 to add on top of this, okay? Energy gets entangled. You can energetically clear away from you low vibrations, but when you purposely bring them to yourself, you're actually entangling yourself with the low vibrational energies that are connected to whatever that is, in this case, the soft drink. Without strong boundaries maintained, you are at the whim of energy. You aren't in control. It's like you're floating in a river without a raft, and you're at the mercy of wherever the current takes you. And it doesn't really care if you're banging into rocks or being chased by alligators or bitten by piranhas. It's just doing its job of being moving water. And since you've made the choice to be there, you'll have to face the consequences of whatever comes your way. But what the whole point of this show is to remind you that you don't have to live this way. You can be in so much more control of the energy you experience than you probably realize. You can float on the water in a stable and secure boat. Instead of suffering bumps and bruises along your life's journey, you'll actually be able to enjoy the ride. And believe me, having been there without the raft for so long, and now where I am now, you'll want to be on a safe and stable and secure boat. It's so much better. So I've told you about 3 things you can do regarding food for maintaining your boundaries. Remove the chemicals, remove the processed foods, and focus on whole foods, and take out what you know are causing sensitive and allergic reactions for you. When you're considering what to consume, here's where you can use your empath intuition. Ask if it is the highest vibrational thing available to you or not. If it isn't, it's not going to serve you or your body well. And often as an empath, your body will send you a message if you just stop to ask the question before you eat it. Is this the highest vibrational thing available to me? Is it in my highest good to consume this? If you feel anything unpleasant at all after asking the question, that's a no answer. Okay? Anything unpleasant. Obviously, there's more to know about nutrition and eating well, but I wanted to give you just some basic information to support you being empowered to make important changes and choices you make about what you feed your body. Now, self-care for empaths is really multidimensional. It's not just the physical food and any physical chemicals you're exposed to that cause problems, although, as I said, that's a huge contributor. So everything's energy. All you have to do, it's everything's energy. You have to be sure you're keeping a space where your body is nice and clear too. The more high vibrations you have around you, the better you will feel. You can address this in so many ways. I'll just give you a few practical things right now that you can do to keep your boundaries strong. So, number one, make sure that the things you do in your leisure time are focused on high vibrations. So, for example, if you have extra time, instead of turning on the television and staring at the latest terrible stories in the news or reality shows with people's dramas and traumas, choose to do something that's nurturing to yourself, such as take a nap, read a book, right, or journal, take a walk outside, do some yoga, meditate, or if you just want to veg out and watch TV, find something that's uplifting and positive to watch. Remember that the key is to bring the highest vibrations to yourself and your physical space that you can. It's all about the choices you make in each moment that result in how you are going to feel overall and experience life. Number two, go beyond just what you eat and drink to make sure that the body and household cleaning products you're using aren't toxic, so that they're natural and they don't have those chemicals. Of course, most of the labels aren't going to say that they contain toxic chemicals, but it only takes a little bit of research to find that common ingredients in shampoos, cosmetics, soaps, and common household cleaning products are known carcinogens and very toxic when applied to the body or even breathed in. Okay? And number three, lastly, a very powerful way to maintain your boundaries in the space where you are is to energetically clear everything in yourself. And when you do this and the other things I've mentioned, you're sending a clear message to Spirit that says, I care about myself. So the energy I interact with needs to be of the highest vibration possible. Then spiritual energy will support you in making this happen, will making this manifest in your life. If you insist on maintaining a lifestyle that's unhealthy, spiritual energy will allow you to make these choices because you have free will. Now, please be aware that you can clear and clear and clear and clear yourself and pray and pray and pray and ask for help. But if you aren't maintaining a healthy lifestyle by keeping your boundaries really strong, you aren't going to experience the highest degree of thriving that's possible for you. Keeping known toxic things like alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, even e-cigarettes, absolutely, they're full of toxic chemicals. Keeping these things away from yourself is essential to maintaining your boundaries. You can't be clear if you're intentionally putting toxins into your body. You can't remain energetically clear at all with that going on. And when empaths don't remain energetically clear, that's when they experience the suffering. Okay? We're going to talk about energetic clearing in another show, but I know some of the people who are listening already know how to do it. So I wanted to give that connection to you. So I've given you just three things to think about regarding food and three things you can do to keep low vibrations away. Bring high ones to you and maintain your boundaries. Now, I want to end today with some questions from listeners. I'm continuing to receive questions from sensitive people about when the intensity of the energy will lessen and why maintaining their health seems more and more difficult. People want to know why, when they're eating well and making strong attempts to live a healthy lifestyle, why are they still struggling to feel and experience vitality? Please listen to last week's episode if you haven't already. I'm going to add to what I told you about there, okay? The intensity of the energy in our world is not lessening. Even though more people are becoming aware and making positive changes in their actions, there are still many people who aren't. The answer that I want you to think about when these types of questions cross your mind of why is it so hard, this is the answer. We live on planet Earth. In other words, remember where you are. in reality, remember. And on top of that, remember who you are. If you're a sensitive empath who can clearly feel energy vibrations, remember that the low vibrational toxic energies don't feel good. Then remember the quantity, the sheer quantity of low vibrational toxic energy that exists on Earth right now. I remind you of these things so that you won't waste precious time and energy on asking these questions, and you can devote your energy to doing what you have to be able to do to live with vitality. I've had conversations with empaths who've told me that it's just too much trouble to eat correctly or to keep energetically clearing themselves. Too much trouble to wash their juicers so they don't use them. It's too much work. It's too much energy. And you know what? I agree. It shouldn't be this much work just to live, but it is. Why? Because we live on this planet Earth. That's the reason. And it's not the planet's fault. It's what's being done to it by the people who live on it. It's been going on for a long time and is just very intense right now. And empaths feel that. So please remember that your self-care comes first. Don't give all of your energy toward helping other people when you aren't taking care of yourself first. You know, like they remind you on airplanes, put on your oxygen mask first and then put on your child's. What good are you to anyone if you're feeling miserable and you're sick? You have to care for yourself so that you can then support and serve other people. Put forth the effort because you're worth it. Please listen. You're worth every iota of effort to care for yourself. And it's not conditional either. No matter what, you are unconditionally worth the effort of giving yourself exceptional self-care. Honor yourself as you would want anyone else to be honored and as you would want our world to be honored. Care for yourself by maintaining your boundaries and bringing to yourself the highest vibrations that you possibly can. That's your foundation. Remember, in every moment, you make the choices. The choices are there. It's like, do I turn this way or do I turn that way? Which way is the less bumpy road? Which way is the smoothest ride? Okay, that's what you want to know. That's what you can use your intuition to help guide you through, and your knowledge of some of the things I've shared with you today and some of the things you already know about making those positive choices for yourself. So the rest of the energy you interact with can be dealt with easier once you have that strong foundation as your base. Okay, your body is in harmony and it feels peaceful and it can function correctly because you are making sure that the space where it is and what you're bringing to it is of high vibration. All right. Next time I'm going to be talking about, we'll talk about clearing energy energetically, clearing energy energetically on the energetic level, the non-physical level, and then, dealing with some of that other energy you interact with that can make you feel bad. So I'll tell you tools that you can use to just move it away from you so you won't have to be harmed. In the meantime, if you aren't doing it already, please start laying down the parameters for your boundaries by staying conscious and aware and keeping those low vibrations away from you and bringing high ones to you the best you can. Start thinking of ways that you can replace maybe some of those toxic things that you often experience through maybe just habits and things you do every day. Start thinking about how you can replace some of those and change them to higher vibrational experiences, because each one you do, every effort you make will help you to feel better, okay, and take all that energy that your body is putting forth to process all of this toxic stuff. It can just let your body stay steady and balanced, and then you can just consciously keep energetically clearing yourself so you feel better, bringing yourself and your entire energy back into balance. And that's ideally what we want to experience. Remember that it is possible. You can feel healthy and good in your life as an empath. And remember that it does take effort, and it's not just going to do it itself, okay? You have to consciously control the energy you experience, because on planet Earth there's just too many different kinds of energies. There's too many levels of vibrations of energies. It's not just like when you are just your pure soul light that's not incarnated and you're in this highly vibrational space at your home, and the low vibrations, you know, especially to the degree that we experience them here, they just don't exist. Okay, you don't have to deal with them. But here, you do. So please, as you're thinking about all of this and working with all of this, send me your questions, because whatever you're wondering, I guarantee other people are wondering too. And I will try to address as many as I can through what I talk about on the show and by directly answering them for you. And you can send it to Janice, Janice, at empoweredthriving.com. And you can visit me online. That's my website, www.empowered, EMPOWERED, thriving.com. And there's all kinds of empowering resources for empaths on my website. So again, I really appreciate you being here. Spread the word that this show now exists, and we're getting the truth and empowering information to empaths and sensitives, so that we can all step into our power and our purpose and help this world and every living thing on it be healthier and have an easier chance of living with vitality once we all start really working with the energy and getting this toxic stuff out of our world. Thank you so much for listening today.
Thank you for listening today. Please join us next week as Janice answers listener questions and provides more inspiration and practical applications for you to live a healthy, productive life as an empath.